think of Fnatic, I think of the old kings of Europe.
Obviously Fnatic has big legacy behind them.
There's two organizations in Europe that are always expected to be at the top. Fnatic is one of them and G2 is the other.
Bwipo just flashes in and takes out Perks! Kills him with the Ruthless Predator, and Fnatic are hungry for blood.
If you play for this team, you are here to win. You're not here to get second or third. You're here to actually win the whole thing every time. Regardless of who plays and regardless of how things go, people still expect us to be number one.
They're on the hunt. Destiny comes out from Nemesis, chasing onto Cabs. He took his spot. He'll take his life. Fnatic are destroying G2. With a perfect taunt. You just need to do a lot in this fight because Nemesis is shredding through Origin. There is no escape. There is no surviving. Fnatic clean sweep Origin.
Knowing that there's so many people out there that are really passionate about our team just motivates us players and gives us extra drive to go for those big plays and to go for those comebacks and just never giving up in general.
Exile now about 4,000 gold ahead, but Fnatic are fighting back. Broxah jumps in, they get Xerxe! That is the Lee Sin god that you want to see if you're a Fnatic fan, and now Fnatic can push forward.
If we're winning, I feel like it's just awesome to hear them cheering for us and being a part of this whole journey.
We know that we have a lot of fans out there who have our back and we need to try to have theirs as well and just never give up and fight till the very end.
The fan favorites Fnatic are undefeated in the LEC Summer Split, and they will be taking on the third best team in Europe. Yes, I said it. I think they are the third best team. I have not been particularly excited about Splyce for a long time. In 2017 and 2018, I believe that Splyce were the sixth best team in Europe. They were pretty droll, pretty drab. I still thought they were the sixth best team in spring. They placed fourth. And now seeing how they're playing in summer, they're starting to win me over. I'm starting to believe that this is the best version of Splyce that I've seen since 2016.
I think it's just about the maturing of some of the players that they put together here. Xerxe in particular is really the standout for me. I know that everyone's going to gravitate towards guys like Kobbe, especially when he's making plays like this, perfectly timed on the Tristana. But when Xerxe and Humanoid reach whatever their full potential is, that is the ceiling of Splyce. It's that jungler and that mid combo. I don't know exactly where these players can scale up to, but the sky is the limit, and on them, that's how far Splyce will rise.
And I want to see how well they play against Fnatic today, because Splyce, they are a late game monster. They're very controlled and calculated in the mid game. They're very reliable and strong in the late game. I have a little bit of concerns about the mid game, but you know, if they do get a lead, they do know how to play it. And unfortunately, they're a little slow for my taste. But you cannot deny their effectiveness because they are sitting in third.
And it's just very unfortunate that they are crashing into the titan of Fnatic today, our undefeated team over in the LEC. I think Rekkles said it best himself. You know, when you put on the Fnatic jersey, you're not there to place. You are there to dominate. You are there to win. The goalposts, the expectations are always clear for Fnatic, whereas they've been rather unclear for Splyce. You know, are these guys just playoff contenders? Are they sitting on the podium? Do they have a chance at Worlds?
Well, listen, Splyce are absolutely playoff contenders. There's no doubt about it. Are they available to get to the podium? They were one series away from making it to Rotterdam in spring. They need to do better. Now, you touched on Fnatic and the play style. We've got some early game stats up here. Goal difference of 15 plus 1,000. Team kills at 15.
Hey, I got you, Trevor. Just touch your eyes across all of these incredible early game stats,
yes.
And all you need to know is that Fnatic are the early game team in the LEC. It's not G2. It has always been Fnatic.
If Splyce survive this onslaught, are they good enough to beat Fnatic?
It used to be that Splyce were one of the only teams in the LEC, you think back 2 years, that could contest with Fnatic's team fighting prowess. The issue is that this Fnatic is a different beast, and unfortunately, I still don't think it's there. I think it's almost like the Achilles heel always for Splyce, that Fnatic just has almost the perfect play style that Splyce can run into them a million times and it will never be a victory. And Fnatic know that. When they had the opportunity into playoffs, they wanted to pick Splyce in the initial best of 5, but couldn't. They were forced to face Vitality.
Okay, but. Splyce have had 3 weeks to prepare for this game. Fnatic were at Rift Rivals on a different patch. They've had less time to prep. And if there's any team that I am going to trust with 3 weeks to prepare prepare for a match, it is Splyce. Their organization, their coaching, their analysts. Do you think they have found the kryptonite to take down the Superman?
I'm going to say no, but I do think that it's their best chance. Now, the thing is that Splyce, Fnatic, expect team fights, expect 5v5. Bwipo said it best in EU4. The Fnatic playstyle is a bomb. It is going to go off. They are always going to be looking for plays, and Splyce have to decide, are they going to be the ones that blow up, or are they going to try to make Fnatic blow up?
Well, today in the LEC, there are 2 teams at the top of the table, Fnatic and G2, and then 8 others battling for a shot at losing to Fnatic and G2. If Splyce take down Fnatic today, they are unequivocally better than the rest of Europe.
Ooh, that's a brave statement there from Quickshot. Splyce, if they win today, are the best in Europe?
That's a bold one there, but you know what? Let's see if they can do it.
I mean, sure they can do it, but I disagree that they're the best in Europe if it happens. I think we've seen G2 just demolish Schalke. Fnatic maybe just have an off day, right? We saw Cold have an off day earlier on. What if Broxah doesn't go 5-0 on Lee Sin at the start of this game?
Well, I mean, I like that you bring up junglers because I think this game today is a battle of junglers. Broxah's ridiculous early game performances, time in and time out, up against Xerxe. I want to see them on their signature champions. Lee Sin for Broxah, Elise for Xerxe would make me a very happy man.
Very happy jungle main as well, I think. So, Fnatic on the blue side have removed Sylas and Olaf from the game straight away. Karma taken away by Splyce as well. What else have we seen today? Sona bans, Yuumi bans, Maud bans, Qiyana bans,
Aurelia bans.
Aurelia bans. Who's going to get taken out of the pool? It is the cat that goes splat. Yumi's away.
I like it. I like it. Now, Fnatic, we've also seen some teams trying to ban away picks like the Qiyana if they're not super familiar or comfortable playing that champion. I do like the removal of the Azir. Maybe some more exciting champions here in the mid lane for Nemesis. Of course, he's been a big proponent of that mid lane Twisted Fate, the attack damage Twisted Fate, as a matter of fact. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes back for that one again. These roaming type champions for Nemesis seem to be some of the best tools for Fnatic in their ability to try and snowball their early game leads and collapse on side lanes to make big plays.
So Qiyana has got through, but Hylissang is going to be Hilo sick on this Rakan. Fnatic fans will be hoping first lock-in for Fnatic.
I swear every single game from Fnatic, it's like their only engage options are Rakan for Hylissang and Lee Sin for Broxah, but they make it work every single time. It's very fun to watch here. Of course, the Xayah can be picked solo. Compare that up with something like a Tahm Kench or a Braum, perhaps, if Splyce want to deny the duo here.
However,
on the red side.
Something that works really well into Xayah is Draven. It's still available here for Fnatic if they want it. And Xayah, without Rakan, is nowhere near the powerhouse that she is, teamed up with her poultry pal.
The poultry pal. Okay, maybe we're getting a little crazy with that one. But the Draven's an interesting pick here because I think it's a champion that we have a lot of Draven players here in the LEC, you know, Kobbe even being one of them perhaps, but Rekkles is not a champion I would associate with, or is not a player that I would associate with that type of champion, so maybe it's a little bit safer here for Kobbe to lock in the Xayah for himself. Now the Aurelia is still open here, Splyce curiously enough not electing to pick that one up for themselves, so would not surprise me to see Fnatic try to get that in the hands of Nemesis.
We have only seen it played by Nemesis once this split, so with Twisted Fate still available, he's going to lock that in. Rekkles will take the Ezreal. He's played that once as well. Of course, both of them undefeated on their respective champions.
Yeah, I do love the TF for Nemesis. Of course, talking about that a little bit earlier. The easy CC to set up for early game ganks by Broxah is always going to be a very good tool, especially when Humanoid is on the other side of the rift. We'll see what he wants to take, because of course he's been a big fan of the Azir in past.
Yes!
Thank you! Thank you!
Freaking go! Qiyana into Twisted Fate mid. These two players that have played against each other since the Superliga days.
Yeah.
This is going to be great.
It's going to be good. Here's the quick TLDR on Qiyana. She's a team fight assassin. You're going to be building lethality. You're going to have the ability to try and burst people down. But there's no other champion in the game that's an assassin that also has the type of team fight capability as Qiyana's ultimate. So it's a very cool one to watch out for, and we'll be diving deeper on as we get into the game.
Yes, we will, because there's a lot of complexities to this champion. We'll see how effective Humanoid is on it. If it's going to Humanoid, of course, could be flexed maybe towards top lane. It is an option, but we'll have to wait and see. Lee Sin removed by Splyce. Lux taken away by Fnatic.
Yeah, the Lux ban here, specifically as a good answer into the Rakan. Of course, can instantly CC him up and pick up the Aftershock proc to avoid any sort of engage from that option.
I'm afraid we're not going to see either of your picks for the junglers. Lee and Elise both banned by Splyce. Kennen taken away by Fnatic as the final ban here, as Splyce look to see what they want to pick. Support would make the most sense to me here. You leave that blind pick, that counter pick for last, and that can either be top or jungle. Of course, the Jarvan could go towards Oda Wamne in the top, Vizicsacsi, sorry, in the top lane.
Yeah, I think Tahm Kench could be a good option here if they wanted to match the global presence of the Twisted Fate, but instead it will be the Nautilus, which is a more lane fighting oriented champion here up against the Rakan. Of course, because Nautilus has so much built-in CC in that kit, it makes it so hard for Rakan to ever try and dash in and take the trades that he would do a lot against other types of champions.
So here's the thing. When you're looking at this from Fnatic's point of view, you have a jungler and a top laner to pick. The assumption can be made that Xerxe is playing Jarvan in the jungle because he's the only one that's played it so far on this team. With the Gragas locked in, Fnatic look towards their top lane. Don't think about the hovers until that Aatrox, which is a possibility for Bwipo.
Yep, classic Aatrox pick here for Bwipo. Now, we have seen some picks like the Jax in the past. If you really wanted to outscale it in a side lane, be a good option, but not necessarily something we see Vizicsacsi go for all too often here. Have seen Karma be a pick for him in the past, but of course that was banned in this game. Instead, it'll be a different range top laner inside of the Neeko for this one. Probably going to be seeing the AP variety in this game because Splyce is lacking a lot of magic damage, but it does pair up very nicely. Look at all the AoE CC that Splyce have with the Neeko, the Jarvan, the Qiyana. They've got all the tools to try and find fights and lock targets down.
Team fight, team fight, team fight, it seems to be from Splyce. Both these teams known so well for their team fight prowess as well. Fnatic, on the other hand, have a bit of roam potential. Gragas for Broxah gives you some early gank potential as well. But in terms of pure team fight damage, I think you have to give it to Splyce.
Yeah, I think Splyce have a lot of very good tools at their disposal. If anything, I would say Fnatic have maybe a bit of an advantage when it comes to the range disparity of having a Twisted Fate in the mid lane as opposed to a Qiyana on the other side. So you can expect to see very explosive, very quick team fights from Splyce, where they look to catch out multiple members and blast them in a very short window. Whereas Fnatic may be looking to kite around a little bit more with the Ezreal, look for continued gold cards to lock people down and slowly whittle away at their opponents.
Front to back is the name of the game for Fnatic. Whittle them down and then go for the fight. Splyce will look for the explosions. They'll look for that big AoE combo if they can find it. Fnatic still undefeated here in the LEC as we approach the halfway mark of the split. Splyce trying to prove that maybe, as Quickshot says, they're the best team in Europe if they win this game. Definitely top 3 in most people's estimations right now. On to Summoner's Rift we go for the final game of week 4 here in the LEC. That's the name of the one that we're in. Tried to build hype, kind of failed right there at the end. Last time these teams met, it was 3-1 Fnatic in the second round of playoffs in spring. Today we see a little bit of inventiveness from Splyce. Qiyana, first time we've seen it here in Europe. Ender, I know you have a wealth of knowledge as to what this champion aims to do.
Yeah, Qiyana's a super sick champ. You can see some of the stuff she's doing down in the bottom corner of your screen here. But of course, her big niche sort of thing is that she can pick up different elements. That's with her W. She can click on either walls, she can click on the river or the grass to get different elements. And that will change her empowered Q. It's a linear skill shot that can either root people if it's a water blade. It can grant her an invisibility line if she picks up the grass, or just do a little bit more damage to low health targets if you get that rock damage.
And the big thing to me with Qiyana is her ultimate. Supreme display of talent. If you hit a wall, it stuns everyone that is touching that wall, and those walls go on for a long, long way.
Yeah, the name of the skill is kind of ironic because it's just such a big AoE that it really doesn't take that much skill to land. You just use that sucker up against a wall, and you are going to be doing a lot of work come the team fight phase. Now, Qiyana does also give very good gank assist at level 2. You can pick up a Water Blade and then use that route on towards Nemesis. They're going to go for a level 1, though.
Just do it at level 1. Nemesis locks in the gold card. Xerxe can't quite find the stun, but they force Nemesis back, and this gives Humanoid a strong position in the lane. Nemesis already chugging through that corrupting potion.
Yeah, I like this early gank here from Xerxe, noticing Nemesis is running the teleport as well, so it doesn't have a combat summoner spell in this lane, but also because Qiyana's early laning phase is generally considered pretty weak by most players. Before you have levels in your abilities, you can't do too much in terms of trading. You're also a melee champion, which makes it a little bit harder to step up and farm. Whenever you go for a last hit that you don't use your Q to try and tag, you are going to be taking damage, and because Qiyana doesn't have any innate sustain built into her kit, that damage is going to stick on her throughout the laning phase.
Definitely is. Nemesis actually running Kleptomancy in this lane into Humanoid as well. The ranged into melee matchup makes it so easy to proc. You're spamming out wild cards, you're using pick a card, and he's already picked up a vision ward from it, which will help him in case Xerxe looks for another gank. Let's have a look at some of the other lanes, though, as well as things are going along. Top lane already a big lead for Vizicsacsi in this matchup. Again, it's a ranged into melee, and the wave's pushing into Bwipo, but he'll probably be 10 CS behind by the time this wave has crashed completely.
Oh, bot lane. Nice little trade there from Splyce. We talked about this a bit in draft, where Nautilus can just lock you up on the Rakan whenever you try to go in.
Yeah, it's so difficult for the Rakan. You jump in, you get auto-attacked, you're stunned. You then try and jump away, the dredge line comes in, you're pulled back. You then try and jump away again, and eventually Nautilus is there just stunning you up. By that time, you've taken half your health, and it's very difficult for you to find the fight. So that lane, Hylissang usually so good at facilitating early pressure, is probably going to struggle here against Kobbe and Norskeren.
Yeah, you learn eventually to stop taking those trades in a lane like this and focus on whacking away at the minion wave and trying to push up. Now, the ward he picked up, Nemesis picked up from his Kleptomancy, does spot out Xerxe walking in here, and Broxah wants to counter gank.
Counter gank time. Humanoid goes in with the stun. The edge of Ishtar doing a lot of damage, but here's the TP. Xerxe flashes away. TP used by Bwipo to try and join the fray, but that gives Chachi so much time in the top lane.
Yeah, that's a big win for Splyce. Not only does Chachi get to push in and deny some minions away from Bwipo, but also it's a flash burnt on Nemesis in exchange for Xerxe. Xerxe doesn't care about losing that flash because it means that Humanoid now has kill pressure on Nemesis.
It means that Nemesis, though, is going to TP up towards this top lane, catch the wave, and Bwipo actually stayed towards mid. Hylissang realizes he can't do anything in the lane, is looking for a gank.
Look at this, 3 members of Fnatic in the area. Humanoid still has his flash, but is going to be in big trouble.
Oh, the knockup does connect. Humanoid still with the flash. Hylissang taken low, the ignite ticking away. Humanoid flashes away, but Hylissang will take the kill. Counter kill comes out from the turret. Humanoid answers in a 1-for-1.
There we go. Very low there from Hylissang. Level 3, I believe, on the Rakan means that he can't really tank up too much. But that play is still a major win for Fnatic because it's kill trade, but primarily they deny this experience from Humanoid. Humanoid still gets a lot of gold from that kill. It means he can finish off this rated Dirk, which is very good for this 1v1 matchup, but it will mean that he is now down a level versus either Bwipo or Nemesis, whoever he's laning against.
And just as we said, Hylissang can't do anything in bot, he does this in mid lane.
So check this out. Humanoid actually picks up the Grass Blade over the wall. It's a pretty large range on what you can actually pick up there. I think his mistake was actually walking forward to get some damage down on towards Hylissang. He could have hit out inside that grass, but of course, once you deal damage, you can no longer be stealth.
Hylissang's taking away. He's dead. Norskeren trying to get away from Broxah and Rekkles in this bottom lane. Broxah still has actually already used the body slam. Nemesis was focused down by Xerxe and Chachi up towards the top lane. Splyce able to answer the early pressure from Fnatic, not something we've seen too often.
Very successful early game so far from Splyce. Also looking at that CS in the bottom lane. Rekkles going to be picking up some now as it pushes in towards him, but Kobbe has a sizable lead. That means a BF sword as opposed to a Tear of the Goddess on the side of Rekkles. Rekkles, even when he recalls and TPs back, still won't be able to pack quite the same amount of punch as Kobbe in this lane.
It's only about a 200 gold difference between the two of them because of the Kleptomancy on Rekkles at the moment, but that can build up. Let's have another look at what happened bot lane.
Yeah, because Broxah is on his way to gank. Hylissang does go in very early, and again, gets rooted up, gets a lot of damage dealt. Now mid lane.
In the mid lane, teleport coming in. Humanoid's already got the kill onto Hylissang. Bwipo pops the world ender, but the chase is on. Chachi looking for it. The umbral dash will get Bwipo across the wall, and Chachi kind of burnt his teleport a little bit too much there. The Tangle Barbs won't connect. Norskeren now looking down towards the bottom lane. They know Hylissang's not there.
Yeah, Hylissang not having a good time. Neither is Rekkles in just a second.
Flash in, root down. Norskeren tanking up the tower. Rekkles is done. Norskeren will die as well, though. That tower's going to do too much damage, but it's an execute. Rekkles unable to get the autos in, and Splyce have come to this party ready to fight.
Yeah, they're ready to go for these plays. Looked like a bit of a spectator bug there on Norskeren. He didn't need flash in range to get that auto attack root down on towards Rekkles, which made landing the Q relatively easy, and that's another big kill for Splyce here in the early game.
Rekkles is stacking up those Sapphire crystals now, tier into double Sapphire, trying to get all the mana he can, just spam out Mystic shots in the lane.
So now I'm looking at Splyce. They're finishing off this Drake. Hylissang is in the area, and they are going to bring down Norskeren. So I was thinking maybe they could make a roam in towards this middle lane to try and set up for a gank alongside Humanoid, who we've already mentioned has very good gank assist, but the window will not quite be there. Splyce was a little bit low after trying to knock down that Inferno.
Okay, 7 minutes into the game, Splyce have about a 200 gold lead. Nothing too monumental right now, but they have shown us that they can match Fnatic in the early game, and we talked about their teamfight comp and how they want to get towards these big AoEs, these big wombo combos. Will they be able to translate this early game pressure into a lead later on?
That has to be the question. Now, see this down in the bottom lane again. This Q from Norskeren is good right on the other side.
So good.
Also, Rekkles was using his W there, I believe, so he was locked in animation, could not dodge away from that, like he can dodge away from that in the bottom lane as we came out of that replay.
So close. Norskeren showing us his Nautilus skills indeed, and I want to come back to that mid lane. It is once again Nemesis into Humanoid as opposed to Nemesis being up towards the top side. It's a bit of a CS lead for the Twisted Fate at the moment, about 20 farm up, but of course Humanoid has those 2 kills under his belt.
Yeah, if you look at Twisted Fate versus Neeko, it's even, and if you look at Aatrox versus the Qiyana, it is even. So across the board, doing very well for both sides in terms of melee versus ranged. Now, speaking of this Qiyana a little bit deeper, it is important to note that her burst combo comes from holding on to her abilities. Basically, whenever you pick up a new element, it resets the cooldown of your Q. That's where your damage comes from. So what you want to be doing is picking up an element, waiting about 7 seconds for that timer, that cooldown to be over on your W, and then you QWQ really, really quickly, which gives you a lot of burst damage against your target. And in between picking up your element, you also want to layer down an auto attack, because that will do bonus damage whenever you pick up a new element. So if you're able to weave your abilities very easily, which Humanoid should be able to do in this game, you do so much damage on this champ.
Nemesis will have to be very aware of it. He's actually had a really good start to the split, has the new Fnatic mid laner. You can see sitting near the top of the charts in most of the numbers that we track for mid laners, and I think some people have kind of looked him over because Broxah has been so exemplary, but Nemesis has really stepped into his own here in summer. Yeah,
and Fnatic are finally putting pressure into his lane and giving him early game attention. He has always been a player that, when he came into the LEC stage, was quiet. You know, Fnatic were struggling off the bat in a ball lane.
You can see the hook landing onto Hylissang. He's ignited. The Guardian isn't enough as Norskeren takes the kill. Kobbe on the chase. Here's Rekkles trying to get away.
Yeah, Rekkles going to be okay right there, but Hylissang not having any fun at all in this 2v2. Now, 4 of his team's 5 deaths. Still has the flash every time, too, because he gets chain CC'd down and blown up instantly.
Xerxe flashes away there. The Infernal Chains were about to drag him back. Bwipo doing quite a lot of work in that top lane for that fight, but there's still that CS lead for Xerxe. Down towards the bottom side, Kobbe has a strong advantage. Humanoid jumping in. Xerxe here, Broxah. There's nothing you can do. The stun lock. A supreme display of talent there by the Splyce mid jungle.
Yeah, that was real rough there. Humanoid using the Q resets there to get the bonus damage, not giving Broxah a chance to escape. This is just a little bit of a taste of what Qiyana can do as top lane. Xerxe in trouble.
Xerxe pops the Pop Blossom trying to get away, but he's not going to survive today. The chase is on from Bwipo. One more auto attack's enough. Destiny coming out at Splyce. 4 men strong coming up towards the top lane. They were on the Rift there, and Hylissang tries to pop the quickness to get away, but Bwipo is caught out. The Cataclysm coming in.
Bwipo in a 1v4, not going to be able to turn this one around as Splyce get the kill. And notice that Nemesis, even though he popped the Destiny right away, he did not rotate up in towards the top lane, did not want to try and match numbers in that fight, instead electing to push out mid lane and take down a plate.
What I really liked from Splyce here was they had rotated to go for the Rift Tower. They'd already taken Inferno. They were like, cool, we don't actually need to be bot lane anymore. We can go top, and it gave them the speed to react to that fight, because you don't really expect, if you're Fnatic, that 4 members of Splyce are on the top side.
Yeah, it was really interesting. We'll go ahead and check out this play in the mid lane as well. Notice Humanoid picks up the Water Blade, so you get the instant route on towards Broxah. Didn't actually use that W again to reset the cooldown of the Q, because he had that window and he had Xerxe there. All you need to do is to be able to lock him down. And notice too that when you cast your E, that's your jump forward, you can also press your Q. During that time, you can use that spell and it just goes in the direction of your E. So it basically confirms that hard CC from the Water Blade.
Alongside that, of course, the ultimate knocking Broxah back into the wall, then hitting the wall, making sure you can secure that stun lock. Kobbe's taking 3 plates up here in the top lane. It's 600 gold difference between the 2 teams. Look at that between the AD carries. 1,000 ahead here for Kobbe on the Xayah.
And a big part of this, yes, Kobbe has some kills underneath his belt too, but Hylissang has just been leaving bottom lane.
Nemesis, that's not what you want to do at all. You TP'd into your doom. Humanoid takes it, Broxah here. Now Kobbe's joining the fight as well. Teleport was actually cancelled on the other side of the map. That was Vizicsacsi catching out Bwipo, and now Broxah's being chased down.
Yeah, Broxah needs to get over the wall, but he's not going to be able to do it. Uses the stopwatch to buy some time, but there is no way out, and Splyce get 2 kills, and bot lane, Bwipo goes in.
Bwipo going in onto Chachi, and he will get the kill, but the rest of Splyce are on their way down. The World Ender ticking away, half left on it. Norskeren trying to hit the dredge line, can't quite connect, but Humanoid's here, Xerxe's here. Bwipo trying to turn it around in a 1v3, almost escapes with the Infernal Chains. Humanoid still looking for the chase. Cataclysm, dunk him down, and he's gonna dash out. Oh, it was so close. Bwipo almost takes him out in the 1v3, but in the end, he just dies.
Splyce just playing on the edge there. Kobbe pops the ultimate, gets through to Hylissang.
Kobbe, that was gorgeous. Hylissang almost falls the Guardian, just keeping him alive, but Kobbe flashing away at the vital moment.
So clutch there from Kobbe to try and survive on the other side of the map. Splyce are trying to run away with this game, but even though it's 10 kills to 3, it's still just a 1,500 gold lead. They need to, in the next 10 minutes, try and move this on forward. So far, it's been great. Now the next prize for them is the Infernal Drake.
You have to force the fight around the Infernal. You have these strong team fight ultimates. You have this strong team fight comp. If you can bring Fnatic there when you're ahead, it's so good for you.
Exactly. Now all the items coming through for this Splyce roster. A bold teleport, if ever there was one, from Nemesis. Bad too. They're synonyms in my book. Now Norskeren barely lives here, dodging away from the first barrel from Broxah on towards the bottom side. Now, I think we should probably go over towards this Infernal fight, because Xerxe is taken relatively low and they're going in.
Norskeren hooks out Hylissang. Hylissang can't even dodge away in time. Humanoid jumping onto the backline, uses the supreme display of talent on the wall. Rekkles isn't here, has the teleport, but he's not going to be able to join the fight. Quickshot Barrage goes into the wave. Second Infernal here for Splyce, and they are well in control of this game.
Yeah, still trying to chase down on towards Bwipo. It seems like Fnatic were a little bit in disarray in comms there. Rekkles, even though he does have the TP, seemed very intent on pushing the top lane turret, while the rest of the team walked in towards the Drake. I think that was a situation where they very easily could have given up that objective. Instead, now looking on towards Vizicsacsi to go in.
Destiny comes out, Chachi's just locked up. There's no escaping that. Fnatic find the pick that they needed to keep themselves alive in this game. With the Rift held up, maybe Fnatic want to play around it. Hook coming out from Norskeren to try and stop Bwipo in his tracks. The World Enders pop. Nemesis jumps in with the gold card though, and Kobbe shut down. The chase coming in from Hylissang all the way from the back of the lane, and Norskeren will go down as well. Fnatic quickly pick up 2 shutdowns, and then right back in this game.
Hylissang just comes flying in out of nowhere. Fnatic not going down without a fight. Now they're the ones ahead in gold. They're going to be able to trade that mid lane tower, which is the very big prize here for Fnatic.
Look at it, they're even in gold now. They get top, they get mid. They're in such a strong position after being so far behind just a couple of moments ago. Do have to look at Humanoid. 5-1-3 on that Qiyana. He's going to be a game changer here. Rekkles caught out, still has the flash. Going to use the Arcane Shift first. There's the flash. Cataclysm goes down, and Rekkles will escape.
Smart play there from Splyce. They say, we can lose the TP right now at the 15-minute mark. No real objective coming up. The flash on Rekkles is infinitely more valuable than that spell. Still though, Splyce need to slow the game down at this point. Right now, Fnatic in the last couple minutes have tried to go for these attacks where they can use the globals of the Twisted Fate. They can use the mobility and the pick tools of this Rakan to try and catch you out and fight you in smaller skirmishes. Splyce will win every 5v5, I feel, at this point with their strength, but they must not be caught out by the rotations of Fnatic.
Need to make sure you're taking the fights on your own terms. Fnatic will have something else to say though. True Shot Barrage misses onto Kobbe, who is sitting at 1.5 completed items. Rekkles now at 2 with the Iceborne and the Manamune stacking up. Hylissang once again looking for his flank position. This Rakan Although he's 1-5, he has had some key moments in this game already. Rift Herald started up here by Splyce.
This Rift Herald's going to be very important for Splyce to use to break open that mid lane tower. They haven't been able to get too much damage down onto it because they had a melee mid laner, so this is going to be their big break to try and knock that one out. Fnatic realize probably don't want to go up and contest a multi-man fight around that objective, so they seed the Herald, they seed the mid lane tower in order to get a big push and deny CS down bot lane.
Told you straight away in the mid lane. We are 16 minutes in, so of course those plates have already fallen, but the tower will fall pretty darn rapidly here as that Rift Herald pushes in. Kobbe just needs one more auto or so, but Hylissang has the flank. The Destiny coming in as Fnatic look for the picks once again. It's 3v5. All of Fnatic are here, and Kobbe isn't going to be alive for much longer. Hylissang finds the catch onto Norskeren. The Chucha Barrage reigns true as it hits onto the Nautilus, and that's great stuff from Fnatic once again.
Once again, Fnatic are able to find the collapse right there. Nemesis Keely, he holds onto the gold card, does not burn it until Kobbe loses the game of chicken. He pops up into the Feather Storm. When he comes down, it's an instant stun and 2 quick kills for Fnatic.
And this is a very different Fnatic. We've seen them play incredibly well in the early game.
Hold the
Broxah
phone.
get them ahead, and Broxah this game has had no impact. 0-3-2 as Humanoid catches him.
That's a supreme display of balance right there if I've ever seen one.
Oh dear. Well, Fnatic do still have the gold lead here, even though Broxah is struggling just a little bit. His solo laners are helping him out. 2-1-2 on Nemesis, 4-2-3 on Bwipo. The question becomes now how Splyce and Fnatic play the next sort of 10 minutes or so of this game, because it could explode one way or the other.
Basically, you want to run around with Qiyana and keep killing people when you have the Fog of War. Okay, here I think we're going to see the Q reset. Q, W, Q. There was an ult in there too. And a little bit of overkill damage onto Broxah's poor Gragas.
Got to make sure they're dead. But if you do want to see the first Qiyana here in the LEC, make sure you jump on over to ProView and see exactly what Humanoid is doing. Splyce looking to be the ones that make the pick here. Bwipo's going to back away in the bush.
Yeah, Bwipo was thinking about jumping on towards Vizicsacsi, but there are 3 members of Splyce in the area. That's going to be a Cloud Drake spawning up next for the side of Splyce. Wasn't quite sure what that True Shot Barrage was going to be doing.
Sometimes it's fun just to watch it. It's like a cool animation.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, there is a case to be made for you. Hold the phone.
It's Chachi that's caught, looking for the Blast Cone, Pop Blossom. He gets onto the Blast Cone, the shield will help him out for now. Destiny coming in from Nemesis, but it's just to reposition in the fight. Fnatic now stepping forward, maybe looking to force Splyce away from this Cloud Drake.
Yeah, just going to force the reset there out of Vizicsacsi. Drake won't be spawning soon enough to really make a difference.
Not a safe position to be in. Humanoid could just jump on you. The stun lock! That is disgusting from Humanoid.
Well, where did he go? Bwipo was there a second ago. Humanoid instantly deletes him right there. Now that he has the Yo moves, he can just run targets down. You are not safe if you are Fnatic and you are alone.
Xerxe standing in the bush, clears out the ward. Feels like a tense moment right now because Splyce and Fnatic have been fighting around this vision control for quite a while.
Yeah, there's no TP on Vizicsacsi, even with Bwipo down. He will spawn in 5 seconds. That being said, unlikely Fnatic look to contest too hard over that Cloud Drake. See one more time, Humanoid's damage here on this Qiyana, using the ult to knock him back into the wall, and that's where all the damage comes from, that second proc. The initial knockback doesn't do anything, it's just that hard CC, so make sure if you can get a QSS and avoid that damage by QSSing and flashing away, that is an option to try and fight back against this champ.
Splyce seem well prepared for this game. A statement of intent from them so far. They look to take down the undefeated Fnatic. As a note after this game, Chachi and Kobbe will be joining Dracos in PGL. Win or lose, I believe. So I'm sure they're hoping for the win. I'm sure they're hoping to take down Fnatic here, but it's still a long way to go. We still see a lot of strength, and interestingly, Hylissang's gone for a Shurelia's Reverie.
Yeah, I mean, Hylissang, he has to act as one of the primary engage tools for this team. He doesn't care that he's died 5 times in this game. He knows at this point, he just needs to keep throwing his body into the Splyce team and hoping to find the mark onto Kobbe, onto Humanoid. These are the primary targets for them. But for Splyce, for Humanoid, this player must carry the weight for his team in this game. Yes, Kobbe is starting to get some items, but Humanoid has so much money at the moment. He is the 1v9 player in this game that can instantly pop any target on the side of Fnatic. It is now up to him to find his way into the enemy jungle, to sit around the Fog of War and catch out members, and that's how Splyce are going to explode in the mid game.
As a player we've had doubts about across the last couple of splits as well. This split, he's actually really starting to step up, but he is caught out and shut down. Rekkles will take the glory, but that was all Hylissang's work.
Just as I say it too, you gotta hide outside of the fog board, but there was a control ward in the bush spotting him out, trying to find the entrance over towards that area. This is one of the big issues of playing an assassin in the professional scene. If you die, you have very little output. Now, fortunately for Qiyana, she does have the ability to fight from range, and Humanoid is still very, very strong in this game, but it gives up so much pressure for Fnatic.
Jace is on here from Bwipo. The Infernal Chains will land on Xerxe, but he'll EQ out of it. Chachi has a flank if he wants it, if they want to go in, but you don't really want to fight without your Qiyana. One of the few times we see a mid laner without teleport as well in the form of an AD assassin, so it's quite hard for Humanoid to join the fight if he gets forced out, if he gets forced back to the fountain, and now Nemesis in the side lane has so many more ways to join a fight if it erupts somewhere else.
Yeah, speaking of the choice here from Humanoid to not run the teleport, something that you will notice about Qiyana is that she's not actually that great in a side lane. She did go for Tiamat in this game to try and remedy some of the wave clear issues that the Qiyana does sometimes run into, but this is a champion that is much more looking to fight you, looking to group up with the team and make stuff happen, as opposed to go into a side lane, start hitting on towers. Qiyana lives inside the jungle, where she has all these walls that she can use to lock you down and look for those types of things.
We often talk about clocks in games. You know, we set expectations. We say this team wants 2 items, this team wants 3 items. This team's waiting for a Baron, for an Infernal, for whatever to come up. But this game almost feels like one without a clock. Both teams scale well. Both teams, if they find the fight they want, can win at any point in the game, and that actually makes it a lot more exciting for me, because you're not just waiting for one team to get stronger than the other.
Yeah, again, when we look at these 5v5s that are going to be so swingy, the difference of how fast the fight goes will decide who wins it. Splyce, if they can finish it off quickly, will win out. If they can turn and fight in the river where they have these walls, try and lock people up with the Qiyana, it will work out.
Here we go, here we go. Splyce have started the Baron. You can see Bwipo up towards that bottom lane, pushing in. They're waiting for the TP. Splyce still sticking on it. Broxah looking for the steal. Ooh. The hook doesn't land onto Rekkles as he's forced away. Splyce have to make the decision. They back away, and Bwipo still pushing. No teleport burn. Reset. Baron going in. They're still looking for it.
Splyce are just out of sorts here. They don't know what they're trying to do. Taken down so very low. Now Bwipo is on to the inhibitor tower. Splyce, we've seen them be hesitant in mid games before. Now they try to pull the trigger. They try to make something happen, starting up that Drake, but they end up losing a tower and a half on the bot side.
Norskeren not in the best of shapes here, because Rekkles can chase him down. Kobbe's coming in. Norskeren flashes away. The ignite ticking down. Rekkles finds his mark. The kill goes in, and now Fnatic could be the ones to start up the Nasher themselves.
Splyce are just trying to do way too much with way too little at the moment. It is now Fnatic with a 3K gold lead. It will not be starting up on towards that Baron, but man, oh man, Fnatic, they're getting ready to pounce on Splyce at every opportunity.
Yeah, Rekkles is well and truly back in this game. After falling behind early on, he now has the Hex Tech Gunblade on the Ezreal, building that 3rd item. The extra AP, the extra burst you get out of it is incredibly hard to fight against, and it helps you disengage something like an AD Assassin.
Yeah, now look at where Humanoid and Xerxe are at the moment, trying to hide inside the enemy jungle. They are behind Fnatic. Can they get this flank?
Kobbe gets the root. Hylissang going in. The Featherstorm comes out. The Xayah trying to escape, but Bwipo's there. And look at Humanoid down towards the bottom side. Teleport coming in as well. Fnatic looking for the fight. Kobbe flashes the wall. And now it's Splyce in a 3v4. Norskeren coming in.
The rest of Splyce are on the way, but they're not going to fully commit on towards this. I was waiting for Humanoid from the Fog of War to use that ult all the way around. Now it is Nemesis popping the Destiny, trying to get the snipe on towards Kobbe. He comes down in here towards the blue buff, trying to get control and get Fnatic their first Drake of the game.
Kobbe still has a teleport, but I think Splyce will just accept they can't fight this Infernal. If Splyce had got that, could have been game-winning for them. Splyce now stepping forward, looking for a bit of Fnatic, but Fnatic say no, they back away, and they will accept their Drake as their prize.
Fnatic have just hit such a powerful point in the game for their composition. We're talking 3 items on Rekkles' Ezreal with the Gunblade, and also for Nemesis, who went for a little bit more AP damage in his build with the Nashor's Tooth, has just finished off the Rapid Fire Cannon, which means long range point-and-click CC from the gold card. That's why Fnatic are looking to fight now. That's why they were trying to make the move around that middle lane, and it's what made Splyce back away and not fight them around the Infernal.
Fnatic expecting that Bwipo might be collapsed on. Nemesis is waiting, but there are 4 members of Splyce here. Bwipo goes golden for the moment. He has to flash away. The Cataclysm comes out as well. He pops a World Ender. Nemesis with the stun cards, and he stops the advance of Splyce.
Yeah, Nemesis' build is giving him quick 40% CDR, so he's just pumping out those gold cards at the moment, making it so Bwipo can escape just using the flash in that situation. They end up thwarting what could have been a really big power move from Splyce.
Both these teams so well known for their team fights, so well known for their AD carry-led compositions. This game, you feel, will be decided by one big fight. Whichever way it goes, that's who's going for the Nasher straight away. Nemesis uses the Destiny to get away. Vision control at the moment around Baron is in favor of Fnatic. Splyce have got control of their own jungle, but no real wards sitting in here. Fnatic could be doing the Baron for all they know.
Splyce need to be able to group up and put down some vision here. They have the tools to do it. Very tanky front line in this Jarvan who's going full tank, as well as the Nautilus try and corral and get vision in areas they need to force their way into. They have the tools to be able to body block and jump on in, but something we have not seen them do in the last 10 minutes is utilize Humanoid in any fashion. You know, he was 7-1, then he got picked in the enemy jungle one time. Oh. Now Splyce playing on the back foot. They don't have the ability to walk in freely. They don't have vision control. They know that Humanoid can't actually make these picks because he's always going to be on vision.
And you had to wonder at the start, you know, Humanoid still in his rookie year here in the LEC after coming up through the regional leagues. You wondered if the weight on his shoulders, him being the sole carry after getting so far ahead, if he'd be able to bear that for his team. Kobbe caught out, pops the Feather Storm, the quickness used. Kobbe's charmed up, but Fnatic unable to quite take him out. Kobbe roots him up, and look at Qiyana off towards the side. Churchy going in with a Pop Blossom as well. Bwipo's on the front line, but already, look at the damage coming out here from Splyce.
Splyce smashed Fnatic, and they're still on the chase, but they choose wisely to turn away. Xerxe is going back to base, Kobbe doing the same. This means they can then head over towards the Baron buff. With this teleport in, Splyce are looking to take the objective.
It was Fnatic that took the fight, but Splyce answered with a fist. They slammed down on Fnatic, and now they'll start up the Baron. Bwipo here, True Shot Rush comes in. That's a lot of damage out from there. But can Rekkles and Bwipo hold on? Because the Baron's down to 6,000. Bwipo caught out. The Infernal Chains won't be enough to save you today. And now Splyce turn back towards the Baron.
Yeah, there's nothing Rekkles can do in this situation. Splyce have done it. They won the fight, and they got the Baron buff. Things were looking shaky for this team. 5 minutes ago, they started up this objective. They peeled off. They got killed. They lost almost their inhibitor tower in the bottom lane. Instead, this time, it's Fnatic going in and Kobbe surviving for so long.
See Humanoid jump onto Nemesis on the back line as well. Nemesis getting caught out is so important.
Oh, the flash ult over the wall gives no time to react.
But Nemesis answers! Anything you can do, I can do better. Nemesis takes down Humanoid in the side lane, and that's a Baron buff down now for Splyce.
Yeah, Humanoid really trying to make the most right there and go for that pick. I want to see that one more time because these 1v1s with Qiyana can be so incredibly interesting to try and break down. This is very key for Fnatic, though, delaying the Baron buff for 30 more seconds. That is a huge chunk of the duration of this power play for Splyce. So instead of actually sieging onto any towers now, they can still try to, you know, get a little bit inside the enemy jungle, put down some vision, and set up for the siege once Humanoid gets back, but it will knock down their ability to try and break an inhibitor tower, certainly.
Definitely will. I just want to bring attention to Xerxe's itemization. No damage on this Jarvan. Got Knight's Vow. That's sticking onto Kobbe to try and provide a little bit more protection. And we'll see what Nemesis did here. Could have just been that Qiyana stayed around a little bit too long.
Yeah, Nemesis opts into this 1v1. So it's a level 16 Humanoid who breaks the grass and gets hit by that max range gold card, then decides to go back in, but Humanoid flashes away from the wall. That's very important, and also Qiyana not having the ult, it means that Nemesis is able to turn that around, and he does so much damage here with that Gnasher's Tooth build, giving him the extra on-hit damage that's on top of the on-hit damage from his E. It means that he does a surprisingly large amount of magic DPS.
Feel like Humanoid could have called it quits on that fight, though. Could have backed away instead of jumping back in. Maybe would have got out if he'd done that, and maybe saving the Baron buff was better than making the highlight reel at the end of the game. Now he's in a side lane up towards top alongside Vizicsacsi. Bwipo's pushing down bot. Mid lane tower's going to fall as Splyce once again continue this offensive. A minute left on the Baron. Norskeren looking to go in, but Hylissang's got him charmed up. Norskeren hooked a minion, and for it he pays with his life. Splyce can't do anything more now. They all have to back away because Bwipo is on their inhibitor tower.
Yeah, Norskeren tried to make the play going on there towards Rekkles, but even after he lands it, that means he's underneath the enemy tower. It means he's CC'd locked down. And lets Bwipo go in. Now Bwipo's on the flank, actually. He's just going to take this tower.
What's Kobbe got? He's got his splash, he's got his Featherstorm. Featherstorm comes out first. Bwipo realizing he can't tank up the tower for too long. Kobbe had to burn the ult to get away, but does survive to fight another day.
Yep, good patience there from Kobbe, not preemptively using that flash. Now, this game is going to slow down because Baron buff is going to time out. Splyce were unable to do anything meaningful with that. Fnatic did a very good job of stopping them out. But Splyce, if they want to use the pressure they got from the Baron, what they must do is enter that topside jungle on Fnatic's side, because right now they have a lot of very good vision and vision denial in this area, which does enable Humanoid to once again try to access his pick potential on this Qiyana that we have not seen in so long.
Hasn't really been able to find those catches, those individual kills that he would have wanted. True Shot Barrage from Rekkles is doing a lot now, has that Ludens, 4 items complete. Kobbe the same though, Infinity, Essence Reaver, Static Ship, Rapid Fire Cannon, building up to what I believe will become a Hex Trinket into more at the end. There's a Locket on its way for Norskeren as well. Both these teams approaching the end game. And although Tony Stark might flick his fingers in the movie, one of these teams will be getting turned to dust in the next 10 minutes. I've never seen the movie. I just thought it was fun.
Why would you do that? You disappoint me, Medic.
Sorry, Ender. Okay.
All right.
100 gold between the teams. Basically
100.
even.
I mean, it's dead even. There's one Infernal towards Splyce's camp. We got to give them that. But as you were mentioning, itemization choices coming through from Fnatic. There's also a Ginsu's finished on towards Nemesis. We talked about the on-hit damage for this guy. He's going even harder in that direction, which means that he's going to be able to cut through the front line of Xerxe and Norskeren. These guys are just building a lot of actually resistances, a lot of armor on these two members. Means that Nemesis is going to do quite a lot. Rekkles, too, with the AP build going in towards a Rabadon's Death Cap, too, is going to be able to do so much in these extended fights.
We see once again Fnatic grouping up towards their isolated member. They think, okay, Splyce will think that Bwipo is alone. They'll think that he's solo pushing like he has done so many times already in this game. And instead we can collapse as a 4-man squad. But Splyce do not take the bait, they back away. Baron up relatively soon. They'll be fighting around that vision control. Splyce do still have 1 control ward in the jungle of Fnatic by that blue buff, but they'll want to get a few more peppered in there to make sure they can spot Fnatic's every avenue of approach.
Yeah, right now, Splyce sending Humanoid down into the bottom lane. He's sitting on 1.1k at the moment, and very likely trying to finish off that last Whisper into some more items. Probably the Mortal Reminder to deal with some of the healing on the side of Fnatic. A whole lot of healing. The Aatrox, the Ezreal even. Going to be doing quite a bit, so if he can get that gold funneled into him, that'll be a good look for Splyce when they enter this team fight because of all the AoE physical damage he can deal.
Oh, Bwipo, hold up! Bwipo's down towards the bottom side of this fight, but Humanoid's already there. The GA is going to be pumped straight away. Bwipo thought he was the one making the flank, but he was the one who was flanked. Rooted up, Humanoid's come all the way around, and Bwipo's done. Splyce find the pick, and they can look towards securing that next objective.
And Bwipo is dead for 50+ seconds. They're just going to send Vizicsacsi back to base, get his health back up, and then move towards this Baron that will be spawning right away. There's also a deep ward on that enemy blue buff in Fnatic's jungle that Vizicsacsi could look to teleport into and find a big flank on this Neeko.
Is this it? Is this the moment that we see Fnatic falter? The undefeated go defeated in this game. Splyce looking for the win. The True Shot Barrage is going to come out. Splyce have started up the Baron. Fnatic looking for the fight.
Fnatic have now seen them. They're pushing up mid lane. Nemesis bot lane 2 has the teleport to try and enter into this fight. They're going to use the Destiny.
Broxah goes golden. The Destiny nowhere near. Nemesis in the fight. Broxah gets away, but the Baron's already gone. Splyce secure it. And now Fnatic have to run walking wounded away. Splyce get their second Baron of the game.
Splyce acting so decisive now. When they can unlock Humanoid on this pick, everything looks so good for this team, using him to sit around, use those walls to punish Broxah trying to enter in towards that pit, and now it is up to Splyce. The last Baron did not work out for them at all. Now they must use this to crack into the Fnatic base, or things could get dicey for them.
Lord Dominic's regards coming out from Humanoid, looking for the extra penetration from that last Whisper rather than going towards the Mortal Reminder. I think both ways do make sense, but The Lord Dominic's Regard just gives you that little bit extra burst. Splyce looking to take their first win over Fnatic since the spring playoffs, where they were defeated 3-1. Didn't get their chance to go to Rotterdam. Here, trying to prove they deserve their position in Athens. And they deserve, as Quickshot said earlier, to be called the best team in Europe right now.
So right now, Fnatic are sticking with what they've been doing all game. Bwipo going into a side lane and pushing in. And this is where Splyce have seemed a little bit slow, is responding to the split push pressure of Fnatic. Whether it is Nemesis or Bwipo in a side lane, they do stall out a little bit. Now they're using a teleport in here. That's going to be Bwipo on the flank, using the home guards, and now the Destiny to catch out Humanoid.
Humanoid has the GA. He's going to try and flash across this walk and just jump over. Good stuff from Humanoid to escape. Fnatic invested quite a bit. Destiny and teleport used to try and catch out Qiyana.
Yeah, but the dragon is spawning up here, so Bwipo is in the right place. All Splyce have to do, if they really want to play off that TP advantage, is stall out on this Drake. While Vizicsacsi pushes up top lane, and look at this, Hylissang is on the side. He's looking for the flank on towards Humanoid.
People always forget to check the bush. Humanoid will do it. The charm comes out, but Norskeren there with a hook. The Hylissang's trying to survive, but already is down, and you can see the damage coming out from Splyce. Bwipo falls, Chachi on the chase. Turns into Humanoid for a second, but he is looking for the tackle. Arms can't quite connect. Fnatic still running for the win.
Yeah, Fnatic must just disengage at this point. Splyce, they say we don't need the Elder Dragon. They have 1 minute and 15 seconds left on this Baron buff. They have 40 seconds on Bwipo, 25 on Hylissang. They're going to break into the base and maybe look for more.
They will at least look for this inhibitor tower. Was that Baron fight the moment that defined this game? Qiyana pushing in mid, the inhibitor goes down, and now this, inhibitor tower goes down, now the inhibitor will follow. Mid lane is the new target for Splyce. As Humanoid takes down the tower, the inhibitor will follow shortly after. The base is broken and Splyce just turned back towards the Elder Dragon.
This is exactly what they needed out of this Baron. Splyce win a decisive team fight around that bottom lane. Again, quick fights or where Splyce will just decimate Fnatic. They're going to spend the rest of their Baron buff to secure this Elder Dragon, will just extend their sieging capabilities. That's a 3-stacked elemental. They have 2 inhibitors knocked down already. It is very easy for them now to walk through that top lane and force that tower down. They have so many good options to try and get Fnatic away from that tower. It's going to be so hard to defend.
And so many times in the past when Fnatic have been in this position, you look to Broxah, you look to Hylissang to make those big plays. The flanks, the catches, at the moment they are 1 and 11 combined. They've struggled so much this game, and Splyce have shut them down.
So instead, we look towards Rekkles. We look towards Nemesis at this point. Rekkles has 6 items on the hybrid AP build. He has his Rabadon's death cap completed. He absolutely hurts right now. Over 500 AP on this Ezreal. Combine that with the damage he's going to be able to do on his Q. He must be able to kite out in these fights, avoid the initial engage of Humanoid and Xerxe, and then just maybe he can turn around, but it's going to be very difficult.
1.5 minutes left on the Elder Dragon. Double Infernal and a Cloud buffing up Splyce here. The final fight you have to feel is on the horizon as Splyce actually look to just get a wave pushing in mid. Of course, they don't have the Baron buff anymore, so those minions pretty easily cleared out by Rekkles, but Fnatic have not left their base in a long, long time. Hemmed back by Splyce, who are looking like an incredibly strong team here in the LEC.
Splyce just going to be grouping up here. Maybe use Humanoid to push out that middle lane and look for a flank on towards Fnatic. Inside the base, there's not a whole lot that Humanoid can use.
The catch onto Chachi. He's got the Pop Blossoms though. He goes Golden Charmed up straight away. It was Broxah who found the pick. You can never count this man out, and they're going to continue the chase.
Every single time Fnatic backs against the wall, they find the fight, but it's not enough to get more. They get the kill. They stop the siege. They delay this Elder Dragon siege, but it's just buying time. Fnatic must continue to do this if they want to fight their way out of the base.
And in this moment, I'm reminded of the poignant words of Perks. When Fnatic faced G2 in the second half of last split, he said, "We may lose, but let's make them sweat for it." That's what Fnatic are doing here. They may know that they're going to lose this game. They may think they're going to lose this game, but they will make Splyce sweat for every inhibitor, for every Nexus turret, and for every win.
This game is getting real good, Medic. Let's take a look at this fight one more time, because it is Broxah. Finds that big cast on towards Vizicsacsi. He's going to step a little bit too far forward here, I believe. As Splyce set up for this siege again, it was just a brilliant... Oh, that cast, and also Chachi tanking up the turret. The timing there as Chachi walked a little bit too far forward, actually into the barrel, makes it so Fnatic were able to stall out that siege.
Bwipo's going to face check into Xerxe here. Kobbe didn't eat the true shot barrage, so he's still alive. Bwipo's actually popped the ultimate. That's a big team fight. Oh, down now. Tangle Barbs won't connect either. As a reminder, guys, PGL after this with Dracos, Chachi and Kobbe will be joining him. We'll see if they're victorious on that show in just a few moments' time. Here comes Hylissang, but Norskeren lands the hook. Hylissang trying to jump onto the backline. Xerxe there with a cataclysm. And now Fnatic have to fight. Splyce pushing forward. Humanoid's caught out Nemesis. And there's the shutdown. Splyce in a 4v5 and Rekkles on the backline. He's still alive.
And Humanoid's going to keep looking for more. There we go. Rekkles finding poke on the other side. Can they turn this around? Is this the long fight they need? Kobbe says no.
Oh, Broxah's down as well. Humanoid found the flank, but now here goes Rekkles. There's still a GA on towards the Qiyana, and Rekkles just can't get away. Pop Blossom, pop down, shut down. Fnatic are routed. Splyce all left alive, and there's nothing Fnatic can do about it.
This will be the win for Splyce here in week 4. Kobbe teleports down into the bottom lane to escort the minions in towards the base. It is a 40-minute slugfest between these two teams, but ultimately it's Splyce going for the Nexus.
From losing in spring playoffs to Fnatic to fighting back once again. So many doubted them, but Splyce proved them amongst the best in the LEC.
Fucking Viking.
Today has been the day of surprises, Medic, and Game 5 delivers. Splyce, led by Humanoid, piloting the first Qiyana of the LEC, absolutely dominates Fnatic and gets them a win over the previously undefeated team in the LEC.
So much credit to Splyce, bringing out a new pick, having practice, having had that little bit of extra time not going to Rift Rivals. They had the strategy planned from the get-go. Of course, Fnatic will be disappointed they haven't gone undefeated, will be disappointed to take the L, but they are still one of our best teams here. This isn't a split-defining moment for them. It's purely a speed bump on the road to playoffs.
It shows that the top of our league here in the LEC can be very competitive. I think that Splyce just had so many good ideas, even just starting in the draft, knowing if the Rakan is open, Hylissang is going to take that. So what do? They steal away the pairing of the Xayah. They have the Nautilus prepared to just make Hylissang's life miserable on this pick. And then, of course, the Qiyana, they got their hands on it, and it looked real good.
That it did. We see why it's been banned out in most of our other games. Works well into the Twisted Fate, can close the gap, can get those stuns off. Really shut down that pick there from Nemesis. And it did feel like Splyce had read Fnatic like a book from the early game. Broxah not having his best of performances and Hylissang dying quite a few times as well, of course, doesn't help. But a lot of that was made because Splyce were ready for these picks. They were ready for the Rakan. They were ready for the Gragas.
Yeah, I mean, we set this up as a battle between two junglers. And while Broxah really struggled to have an impact outside of that one beautiful cask around that inhibitor tower, Xerxe went 1-0-15 in this game, never dying, not even once. He showed very good control throughout this match and just setting up for Splyce to have these super explosive team fights.
Rest of the team's probably a little bit nervous now that they see Splyce have a performance like that. Origin especially wondering if their podium spot is up for grabs, because Splyce on today's performance, and I do add that caveat because I know a lot of people will say you can't say Splyce is the best in the league, but today, Splyce was definitely up there with G2 in my estimation.
Yeah, I mean, Splyce's goal for this split, right, should be getting into that top 3, should be trying to fight for a spot at Athens and a spot at Worlds. This match today definitely showed that they can play with the big boys here in the LEC.
And some of their players had stellar performances as well. Kia Player of the Game vote is live at LOL Esports on Twitter. Xerxe, Humanoid, and Kobbe are your options. And if you don't vote for the guy that first timed Qiyana on the LEC stage, then you're trolling.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Easy. That's an easy enough vote.
Yeah.
Grab my phone after this and just make sure I get my vote in as well. You never know how close it's going to be on some of these key player of the game.
Yeah, sometimes it can be close, but I have a feeling this one's... I mean, Humanoid just looked so good on this Qiyana. Yes, there were maybe some blunders, right, when he tried to take that 1v1 against the Twisted Fate, but he actually just helped Splyce go from, an even game state to finding these solo kills that gave Splyce a ton of control between that, 15 to 20 minute mark, where sometimes this team can struggle.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit about Splyce and Fnatic. I want to talk a bit more about the Qiyana. If you were matching into it and you saw Qiyana picked, what would be your answer to it? How would you be dealing with that?
I mean, so I think there's a lot of actually good options. You can go sort of two different routes. One is bruiser champions, like a Yasuo, anyone that can fight Qiyana over extended periods of time and can force her to take these longer trades is going to win out. Because I talked about her sort of short windowed burst combos. Those she can be very, very strong in, but she doesn't really do that well when it comes to longer period fights. That's where something like a Yasuo could really bully her around.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you really want something bruisery. Twisted Fate, you can't really stop her from jumping into you, I guess, and you can't really reposition that.
Right, and it's also hard. I think some ranged lane bullies can also be good against Qiyana because she doesn't have any sustain built in, but Twisted Fate isn't really going to be able to do that, especially in the early laning phase, to bully her out of that 1v1.
That does make a lot of sense. As you guys know, Chachi and Kobbe will be joining Dracos and PGL in just a few minutes to celebrate taking down the undefeated Fnatic. I'm sure they're very glad, and I think a lot of people will be looking at Splyce now much more as a contender for that title, maybe even for the finals in Athens. There's always this kind of back and forth with Splyce where we know they're a really good team, but because we had Fnatic, Origin, and G2 just performing that little bit better, they kind of got undermined a little bit by how good everyone else was. But this Splyce right now really seems to just be stepping up, taking that next gear and showing that they deserve to be listed amongst those other three.
Yeah, and the next test for them is to keep rolling off of this win. I think that's 5 wins in a row now for this team. As we go in towards the halfway mark of the season, they're very likely going to be in that 3rd place spot very solidly. So then the second half of the split has to be the same, and then it really comes down to, can this team perform like this over an entire best of 5? That's the real challenge for Splyce.
It's always the real challenge when we get towards those playoff best of 5s. But as we close out week 4, we're going to have another look at some of the best moments from the Rift in our Alienware big plays. Now, against Misfits, Caps decided first time Renekton, and the Crocodile sent Misfits to the Tomb of the Emperors. They took his Qiyana while he took their lives.
Level 3, level 4, when Sejuani makes her way back towards the top side of the map, that's where Misfits will look to try and punish this player.
Oh, Caps!
No Ignite, doesn't need it! Calls the Meek in an instant!
TBing?
Yeah, you tanking in tier is good.
Yeah. I have Ian2.
Yeah, it's no flash.
Yeah, I'll tank.
Other Renekton.
Yeah.
Do you want to stay? Like, do you want to...
I think that's best.
Alright.
He's playing aggro mid, so I think Jancy joins around. I will respect.
I think I'm dead. I'm dead. He's just too strong, I think.
So he's winning the mini game, but not the real game. Soaz now in trouble. No flash this time around. We'll get a lot of immediate healing, but no movement speed. Sorry, is just going to get walked down here. Caps will grab yet another kill.
So I think what I worked out from that highlight package is Caps has a very different definition of I respect the fact the enemy jungler might be near than I do. Because in that 3rd clip, he's like, oh, I think the jungler might be near. He's playing aggressively. I'll respect him. And then he just jumps in onto leader.
He's like, I'm going to cautiously go for this 1v2. I'm Caps. I do Caps things.
Exactly. You can do it from every now and again. But in our match of the week yesterday, Splyce's Kobbe got the ball rolling with a nice Tristana outplay. Oh, Kobbe's going to jump in here, but Dreams spits Crown Shot out straight away. Glacial Fisher comes out as well as they look for the chase. Thick skin from Dreams will keep him alive for the moment, but he's solo. Kobbe jumping in! Buster Shot takes him out. Kobbe tanks up the tower. Crown Shot could look to go forward, but can't face into 2.
We don't have to...
Okay, we are all in Tam. They have TP and I have TP in 5.
That's fine.
Okay, we have really good damage on Tam.
I have heal.
Lee is fighting into boss side, can you guys be careful?
I have heal.
It's really good outside there.
Nice, good. I have heal.
Probably I will actually puff bot lane, okay? Okay. I'm coming bot lane, we have Karma has TP, Karma has TP. We both have TP, I'm coming. I might kill them when they come, okay?
I'm just running top. I was thinking to TP, but this guy would just TP anyway, so...
Okay, Tisana is looking to base.
Yeah, Tristana's probably looking to base after killing your support.
Yeah.
Tends to be what happens. Oh, I got all this extra gold. I wonder what I should do with it.
I mean, that was just clean from Kobbe. He's actually walking backwards, so Dream's like, all right, I'm getting out of here, no problem. Jump forward into the ultimate.
It's the perfect timing on the thick skin going down as well, which is really pretty to watch. Finally, Prophet's teleport plays led Rogue to a massive upset victory today against Origin, reminding everyone that once he did play for SKT. Origin going to use it, Rogue maybe just deciding they want to get the TP out.
How bold are you going to be?
Look at the call at the moment, it's so split, they're on both sides. Prophet teleporting in behind here. Rogue have the flank, I talked about it, and Prophet is there! Rogue collapse, and Origin can do nothing about it.
Can I need tipping? Can I need tipping?
Okay, go walk up.
Let's go.
Walk up.
Go Shivir, go Shivir.
Yeah, go Shivir.
Shivir.
Okay. Careful Victor, guys. Careful Victor.
Hey, care, slow.
Go Victor.
Okay, slow, guys. Slow.
Yeah.
Calm down. Slow.
Hit Nash.
To clear out the wave as Cannon pushing in. Oh, Prophet's got the teleport behind them. They're looking for the stay play. Arrow comes out, hits Middy. Immediately QSS's it away, but here goes Prophet. Oh my god! That is disgusting! Origin do not get a chance to play League of Legends. Rogue rout them. The Abyssal Voyage coming in behind Alfari here as well as Vander forces him back into his team. Straight into the waiting arms of Larson. Rogue destroy Origin in a perfect play.
Right.
Victor is really splitted. I flash on Victor.
No Meekles.
Hey, we go Victor.
Victor no flash.
Yeah, holy. Okay, go.
Victor no flash.
Go Nash.
Can't we catch him?
I catch him.
No flash, no W. No flash, no W.
I will get him.
End with top wave, guys.
Yeah, maybe we can end.
Let's
Yeah,
end.
just go back to top wave.
Okay, nice.
Don't hit A to clear it. Don't hit A to clear it.
We just kill him.
Medic, all I'm saying is that Prophet's Kennen made me want to be a Kennen 1 trick again. Those flanks are actually just so insane.
The only problem is Prophet's good. But for more insight on the action, here's Drakos with the LEC post-game lobby.